Hello and welcome, friends. How you doing? My name's Allison and this is my channel, Green Goddess Plant Seeds and Stitching, where I share my adventures in gardening and in cross stitch. So today is a floss tube. It's been a while since I did a floss tube. I think the last one might have been on the 1st of July. So yes, it's been a busy summer. It's been up and down. I'll sort of do an update on that towards the end there. So if you're not interested in the gardening stuff, you don't have to sit through that. Ow, sorry. Got a cat here who wants attention. Just a sec. All right, so where was I? Now the cats have been put outside. Yes, it's been a busy summer. July felt like it would last forever. It just crawled right by. And I was hoping to do another floss tube around the 1st of August. That didn't happen, and now August, we're in the last week of August. It has just flown by. We've been so busy. It's been nuts. Oh my goodness. I know in one of my garden updates, most of June and July were very dry. But the last 2 weeks here of August, the previous 2 weeks have been quite wet. We've had lots of rain, so that's changed. And now we're back into some sunshine, which means, yeah, the garden is just exploding with all that rain. And now we've got the heat and it's just poof. The rain came a little too late for the field crops. Like Glenn has canola planted around the house here. He's also got some oats and wheat. So the rain came a little too late for those, but it'll definitely help the garden. So what have I been stitching on? Well, in spite of being busy, I have been doing a little bit of stitching, not as much as I would like, but that's probably normal for most of us. We don't do as much stitching as we would like. Usually I sit down in the evenings. I try to find some time before going to bed to put a few stitches in something. So yes, I do have a start and a finish. I think last time, in my last video, I hadn't started this one, but I was about to. So yeah, let's get into it. So this one is my start and my finish, and it is Infinity Bear Designs Rain or Shine. I should have taken that out of the plastic, sorry. So that's what it's supposed to look like. Tomato plant in an umbrella, and it says here, the tomato plant never questioned its umbrella home. It just stretched towards the sun and drank the rain, finding its own quiet rhythm in a world that hadn't planned for it. So this is my stitch for Rain or Shine. This was a lovely little stitch. I guess if you're a fast stitcher and you have plenty of time, you could probably do this in a day. Did stitch up quite quickly, although it did take me, probably longer than it should have, just because I don't have a lot of free time. But yeah, so I used it called for DMC, and this was some printed Aida that I got from the craft store, and I'm very happy with and pleased with that. I haven't decide what to do for a final finish, but I might sew it into just a small little cushion or pillow, have it as a shelf sitter or something. Yeah, so that is my start and my finish that I've got for now for this floss tube. The other things that I was working on, I know July I was trying to do a Canadiana theme. So mostly I was working on projects that were either designed by Canadian designers or Celebrate Canada kind of thing. So one of the ones that I was working on was the July 1st by Shanon Christine. That's what it's supposed to look like. And sorry, I just got some threads here. And this is what my version looks like. So I've chosen a purpley blue background instead of the brown background. I did dye this myself. I'm quite happy with the way the house turned out, and this is a little bit of the firework, and I've started on the truck that's at the bottom of the design. So yes, I've got the house done, I've started on the truck, and I've started on this firework. So there it is. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I was hoping to get a finish on this, but that didn't happen. That's okay. I will continue to plug away at it. It's not a huge piece, so it shouldn't take that long to finish. I love the house. I love the way the house turned out. I'm just so happy with that. That looks so good. So that is July 1st by Shanon Christine. There was another Shanon Christine pattern that I had hoped to start as well, but that didn't happen. There were a couple of tiny modernist patterns I had hoped to start. That didn't happen either, but you know, what do you do? The garden comes first. The garden comes first. One of the other things that I was working on, I did get to work on, was this one by Pigeon Coop Designs. There is a series of designs for each of the Canadian provinces and territories, and I chose to start this one for Saskatchewan because this is my home province. It's where I live. It's where yeah, it's my home. It's always been my home kind of thing. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And this is where I'm at. So I've got the bottom field done, and I just have to do the upper part with the sun rays and the sky. I'm just using a plain white Aida and the DMC thread called for DMC. I'm actually quite pleased with the way it's turned out. You know, sometimes you can't quite see it unless you actually seen someone stitch it. So I'm actually quite happy with that. It's turning out quite nice. Quite nice. So that was my Canadiana stitching that I worked on for July. The only other thing that I did stitch on was my Fox and Rabbit stitch along, the 2012 Mystery SAL stitch along. I'm still so far behind on it. It's not even funny, but whatever. I'm plugging away at it. So this is where I'm at with the Fox and Rabbit. So I am working on this here. This is June's installment here. So yes, it's actually looking quite nice. I'm quite happy with the colors I've chosen for it. Yeah, so the center block is January. The border around that was February. This top panel in here and along in here, that was March. And that's where I actually got behind because there was a lot of stitching in that, and I just got behind on that. April was the corner, these corner pieces in here. May were the outside bits, and then June is this. I do have July's printed off, and August and September's installments were made available at the same time. So I've got those all printed off and just waiting. I've got some colors pulled for part of that, but we'll see how that works when I get to it. So yeah, I'm very excited about this, and I actually took this with me to Dogpatch Music Festival. And that was a weekend event that we went to at the end of July, and I took it with me because we were camped out there. We took the camper up. We were set up as vendors, but we also were able to enjoy the music. Of course, it wasn't always busy, so when it wasn't busy, I was sitting, enjoying some music and working on my cross stitch. And of course, when I had to get up and help someone, make a purchase from our table, I actually had quite a few people who saw this sort of sitting in my chair. I was helping someone, and they said, "Oh, isn't that lovely?" They all commented, "Oh, what lovely needlework you do." I'm like, "Well, thank you." So that was kind of cool. To have actually people see it, and I'm probably very modest and a little bit self-conscious, and I tend to not let people see what I'm working on, but whatever. I guess I'm showing it to you, so I guess I really can't say that I'm all that shy about it. So whatever. Anyway, so that is my Fox and Rabbit 2025 Mystery SAL. Once July was over, I branched out a little bit, and I had started this one before July, and I set it aside, and now I finally got back to it. And this is the Star Dragon by All Forest Embroidery, and I did this as part of a start along with a Lancashire Stitcher. So this is my dragon. She started a start along, I think it was Dragon Stitch for Mum, I think was the hashtag she was using. So I think so this is where I'm at. Pardon my needle minder and thread there. So the last time I think I showed it to you, I had a little bit across in here stitched, and since then I've done a little bit more. I've got this flower in here done and a little bit up here, and this here is part of the large dragon's back or wing I think it is. So that's got some progress, not as much as I would hope. I was hoping it's a slower stitch than what I was expecting, considering like there's only like 5 colors of threads. And I am stitching this on a 16 count Aida called Porcelain from Roxy Floss. And I'm using the DMCs. But yeah, it seemed to be a slower stitch than what I was expecting. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just me. Sorry, my curtain's fallen down. It's affected my light in here. Oh well. Hopefully you guys can still see. I was struggling with trying to find a setup that worked. The living room seemed too dark, even with the lights on. I still have my ring light on. The kitchen I'm in the kitchen. It still seems a bit dark, even with the lights and the ring light, and I'm by the window, but it still seems not quite. Yeah, I was happier doing these at my own place in Saskatchewan because I had the way the kitchen light and the table were set up, it was perfect, right? But what do you do? And then I have a new start to share with you. So I am participating in the Orange Fabric Halloween SAL that was started by Adelaide Stitches. And so I am stitching, which is hollow, because I already had the pattern. I had most of the threads. I just had to get a few remaining stragglers and some fabric. I didn't have any fabric, so yeah, and of course, you know, I don't necessarily need any more enabling. I probably shouldn't have started a new project, but well, you know, whatever. So yeah, so that's which is hollow, and this is where I'm at with that. So another slow and steady wins the race. So where am I working on this here? I am in this area, in here, I think, with this tree in the path here. That's where I've been stitching. But you know, it's fun. It's fun to have stitches like this. It's nice to be able to participate. You know, I sometimes feel isolated where I'm at. You know, I don't really have anyone else to hang out with who stitches. At least not during the summer. I have another friend in Saskatoon who stitches, but I don't seem to get together with her very often. But what do you do, right? So yeah, yeah, why not? You know, why not start another project? Because just start all the things. Start all the things, right? All right, so that was everything that I've worked on in the last while. Here, I'm just going to try and fix the light here a bit. All right, I don't know if that's any better or not, but we'll go with it. So yeah, so that was everything I've worked on. I have a little bit of stash enhancement to show you. First things, I ordered a couple of things from 123 Stitch. The first one is by Tiny Modernist, and it's the Patriotic Bicycles. Yeah, I thought those are cute, and I'd probably stitch both of those just because I can. And I also ordered from them October, from the Cricut collection. My birthday's in October, so I don't necessarily need another new start, but I might start this one just because I love October. I love autumn, and this would be cute to stitch. But it means, of course, gathering up threads and materials and everything else and making sure I have everything I need for it. So it's just that. And then Pigeon Coop Designs had a sale on their website. So why not enhance my stash? So the rest of these are digital downloads. So the first one from Pigeon Coop was Pumpkin Patch, because we are coming up to that season, and we do have a pumpkin patch here that's looking quite nice at the end of the driveway. So there's that. And then I also got Chili Chickadees, a nice winter stitch. And then the last one from Pigeon Coop is Wintry Wax Wings. You know, it's funny because when I first saw the Pigeon Coop designs, I wasn't totally sure I liked the style of the artwork, but the more I look at it, the more I actually really do enjoy it and like it. And so I'll probably be purchasing more patterns from them. And then the last item I got off of eBay. So I do not shop on eBay very often. I used to, ages ago. I used to buy lots of, a lot of beads, a lot of Swarovski crystal beads, and stuff like that. Crystals, rocks, shiny things. And then I just basically imposed a self-imposed ban on eBay. So I just don't go on there because there's just too many things that I could waste my money on, and I don't have a lot of money to spend, so I just don't. Probably about 2-3 weeks ago, in end of July, I kind of lifted that ban for about an hour. So I kind of went on there and just to poke around, just to see what might come up if I just did a quick search for cross stitch. So what I found was a kit, I don't know who published this. Oh, it's a Dimensions 2002, and it is called Birds in Winter, and it's a kit. It does have the threads and the fabric in it, and of course the chart. It was a good price. It was from a Canadian seller. And so I thought, why not? I will do that. And then as soon as I completed the order, I shut eBay off. I shut my laptop off. I walked away because I just cannot spend very much time on there at all. It's just not a place I need to be browsing. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't go on there very often. I'm wanting to know what your experiences are in buying stuff off of eBay, like cross-stitch stuff. Like, I just bought the one pattern, the one kit. And, I understand the seller probably wanting to save money on shipping. But basically all they did was, like, this is the packaging. I'm assuming the original packaging, the original plastic, and the seller just slapped the mailing label onto the back of it. Which is, I guess, okay, because it's just a plastic covering. But I'd almost be willing to spend an extra $1 or $2 on shipping just to have an envelope. I don't know. I'm assuming this is probably normal practice from sellers. I don't know. But anyway, I've got this. I saw it. I can't remember. I'm not sure if it's, I think it's Just Keep Stitching Pam and stuff. They might have had this hanging on their wall behind them way back in like December, January, I think. And I think that's when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's a lovely stitch. Because I remember whenever I watched their videos, you know, back at the beginning of the year, I thought, oh, that's a lovely piece. So that's why it caught my attention. So I'm like, okay. But like I said, as soon as I completed the sale, I shut it off and walked away. And I'm trying to not, spend too much. Like I'm trying to keep control of everything, and Anyway, the other thing that I bought, just plans for September. I do have a couple other patterns that I did purchase for my September plans. Whether the September plans actually pan out or not will remain to be seen. Set that aside. So plans for September, still thinking about that. You know, I'll probably continue to work on my Fox and Rabbit Mystery SAL. I'll probably continue to work on Witch's Hollow, because the season is coming up for me. I might dig into my WIP basket and dig out some pieces that I have not worked on in quite some time. I know there's at least two, 3, 4, maybe even 5 there that need to have some of them. There's at least 2 that are Christmas pieces. So yeah, it might be time to bring those out. But there's a couple other pieces that I have not worked on in quite some time. So I might try and cycle those into what I'm working on. The other thing that I wanted to do was have another new start. Like I need a new start, but the other stash enhancement that I've got was I purchased a couple of patterns from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And this is, they've got a series of houses called the Houses of Pumpkin Lane, I think is what it's called. Houses of Pumpkin Lane series. So I've got the first 2. So this is the pumpkin house. And now they've got it shown as stitched into a pillow, but they do have a larger placement chart. So if you wanted to stitch them as one piece, you can do that. And that's probably what I'll do. So that's the pumpkin house. And then I've got the second one, which is called Chrysantheum House. And I'm going to be using the DMC threads. And I do have a big piece of fabric that I bought from Michael. So it's just an inexpensive piece of 16 count Aida. I do want to dye it myself if I can, if I have time. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do. I might just do like a simple tea dye kind of thing, maybe. We'll see. These are my threads. Lovely autumn colors. Warm earthy tones. But yeah, I was hoping to dye that fabric myself, but we'll see how that goes if I have the time. Yes. Sorry, there's a bee. I can actually see a bee. There's a honey bee in the house. I gotta try and rescue it. Send it back outside. Anyway, so that's all of my stitching stuff that I've done and worked on and thought about in the last month and a half. It's been, like I said, it's been a crazy summer. July was so dry, and we had some hot weather, but it wasn't excessive. And then August came along and we had rain. Like we had about 2 weeks where it just kind of rained on and off every other day almost. We had a couple of days where we had 3 or 4 storm cells roll through, and it was thundering and lightning, and it was pouring rain for a while, then it would stop, and then it would pour rain for a while again, then it would stop again, and it was nuts. I mean, it's great that the garden is wet, and it is definitely wet out there still, and it's been probably 4 or 5 days since the last rain, and it is still wet out there, so, which is good. It's nice to see the moisture in the ground. It's definitely helping the plants, and the forecast for this week is for hot weather. Like, we're supposed to hit like 30 degrees Celsius most of this week, which means things are going to just explode. Like, the cucumbers are just going to go poof, and we're going to be swimming in cucumbers. And I have picked, last week, I'm sure I picked 40 pounds of beans, green beans, and I did the same yesterday with the yellow beans. I'm still working on yellow beans, and this morning I was working on the cucumbers. I don't know how many pounds of cucumbers that I picked, but a lot. There was a lot. We do both slicing cucumbers and pickling cucumbers, and the pickling ones are a little bit larger than what we would like, but then we were kind of busy over this past weekend. Like, Today's Monday, the 25th of August. So we were busy. Last Saturday, we had a market all day in St. Mulberg for their blueberry festival. So the cucumbers probably did not get picked when they should have gotten picked. So they're a little bit bigger, but that's okay. They're still usable. You know, if people are making relish, or if they want to make bigger pickles, or even sliced pickles like bread and butter pickles, or sliced dills, you know, these would work for those. We have lots of customers who just eat them fresh, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So, and as I was picking, so I was noting what was out there. So we'll probably have some smaller pickling probably towards the end of the week. Of course, beans. The beans are just exploding. We've got our last planting of beans that are finally ready to pick, and they are just loaded. So probably later tonight, when it cools down a little bit, I'll probably be back out there picking more beans. And I still have broccoli to pick. We had 2 plantings of broccoli. The first one, all the main heads are off, but we've been letting the side shoots grow up. So I gotta go through and pick all the side shoots. The cabbage is ready. Some of them might even be starting to split, so I gotta go pick those. Yeah, there's all sorts. Our pumpkins at the far end of the road. I actually took a walk down to the far end of the road of our driveway where the pumpkins are. And I am actually surprised that how many are actually fully ripe, especially like the small ones, the small pie pumpkins. At the end, it's a part of the garden that I don't normally get to because I'm so busy just picking everything at the other end. So I was just really surprised. Any of the really, really big carving pumpkins are still quite green. But that's okay. That's okay. What else? I've been noticing the sandhill cranes flying over, which is, yeah, I'm not too sure what to make of that. That's a sign of the birds are moving, migrating. So I'm hoping we don't get an early frost. I'm hoping that we do not get an early winter. I do not want early cold weather. The last couple of years we have been blessed with very mild, long, extended falls. I think last year we didn't get any killing frosts until like the end of September. So that would be nice if that happened again this year. But nothing is guaranteed. Yeah, so that's basically what's been happening. We've been doing 3 regular markets a week since the mid-July. So we've got a farmer's market tomorrow night, Tuesday. It's a Tuesday evening market. We've got another one on Friday here in Meadow Lake. And then Saturday, which is the long weekend, is the last regular farmer's market for Loon Lake. So things are starting to wind down, which is good. And then after that, we'll still have the Meadow Lake Market on Fridays. And I think there'll be one more or two more Tuesday markets in September, I think. I think the Tuesday markets go until the 9th or something like that. So, and then the Friday markets run until the 10th of October. And those will be done. And then it's weekend Christmas markets straight through until Christmas. Or almost Christmas anyway. So things will be less busy. We won't have quite as many markets. The garden will be done, which that'll be a whole element that we won't have to worry about. The crops will be off the fields. That'll be a whole element that we won't have to worry about. Glenn right now is out getting all of his equipment ready to go. You know, the sprayer, the combine, you know, the grain truck, everything. I know a lot of the farmers in here have already sprayed their crops, and they're getting ready to bring that crop in. So, and Glenn's doing the same thing. He's getting ready to bring his crop in. So, yes, it's going to be, the next 3 weeks is probably going to be another crazy busy period for us. And then once that's done, then we can kind of breathe a little bit of sigh of relief and maybe relax just a little bit. So, but yes, that's what's been happening in my life the last month and a half. Thank you so much for joining me here for this Flosstube. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I'm working on. I've got a variety of things that I'm sort of getting into. I'm trying to expand some of the different styles and artwork styles and stuff like that. So a few different artists and designers. Yeah. So I hope you're having a great week. Happy Monday. Have a great week. I hope the weekend ahead that's coming up for us here, it's a long weekend, so I hope you have a great weekend coming up. Hopefully I'll be doing another garden update video soon. Yeah. So thanks for stopping by. Take care of yourself and happy stitching. Bye for now.